So good day everyone, and we are the group 4 and we will tackle about the novel Noli Tangere and Life of Dr. Rizal. So I am Arlene Razo and I will discuss about the introduction of the novel, the title of the novel, the cover of the novel and the theme of the novel. So Noli Tangere is a novel written by Dr. Jose Rizal. It served as the eye-opener and wake-up call to the Filipinos during his time. So this novel is published in the year 1887. So it served as an eye-opener and wake-up call because of the abusion discrimination happens to the Filipinos from the um, from the friars and the Spaniards. Now let's proceed to the title of the novel. So the title of the novel, Noli Me Tangere, is came from the Latin word means in English, touch me not. So the title Noli Me Tangere, taken from the scripture or the Bible verses from the letter of Saint John, it is when Mary Magdalena seek for Jesus in the garden after the resurrection. When um, when Mary Magdalena holds onto Jesus and he tells her not to touch him. So Jesus, from the letter of Saint John, so Jesus said to her, Stop clinging to me, for I have not yet ascended to my Father. But be on your way to my brothers and say to them, I am ascending to my Father and to your Father, and my God and your God." So in this verse, Jesus tells to Mary Magdalene that she's not allowed to touch to him or to Jesus because he is not yet ascended to the Father. Now let's proceed to the cover of the novel, the Nanolet Metangharina cover. So this is the cover of, this is the original cover of the novel of Dr. Cersei No Limitang Hari. As you can see in the cover, there are symbols printed, or there are drawings here in the cover, and there and it has a symbol. It has a symbolism or symbolizations or meaning behind that cover. Now, to know more deep about the cover, let's tackle or discuss it. So the number is divided into the upper triangle of upper triangle part and the lower triangle part. So the upper triangle part of the novel represents the past life of Jose Rizal, and the lower part or the lower triangle of the Noli Me Tangere cover is represents the present life of Jose Rizal. Now, to look in deep the upper triangle part of the novel, here is the picture. So, in the picture, we can see the silhouette of a Filipina, the cross and the crucifix, um, pomelo blossoms and laurel leaves, burning torch, and sunflower. And in the lower triangle part of the novel, you can see the feet, the shoes, the hairy legs, helmet of the Guardia Civil, the whip, flags, chain, and Rizal signature and bamboo stalks. So now let's tackle it one by one kung unsa mga joy kanang meaning why Dr. Sersal used this symbol as symbolism. So here is the cover. So we can found in the cover the cross, or the cross means the sufferings, pomelo, blossom, and laurel leaves, it means symbolize the honor and fidelity, and the silhouette of a Filipina, the Maria Clara or the Inang Bayan, and then the burning torch. So the burning torch means the range and fashion. Then the sunflower means or represents the enlightenment. Then the bamboo strap represents the resilience. Man in hairy feet represent a priest using religion in a dirty way. And chain represents the slavery, and the webs represent the cruelties. And the helmet of the Guardia Civil, it represents the authority. Now, let's tackle this one by one. So, we will go on to the upper triangle part of the cover of the novel. So, the silhouette. So we can see the silhouette of a Filipina. So, the silhouette of a Filipina represent or believed to be Maria Clara or the Inang Bayan, or to whom the novel states. So cross or the crucifix. So we can found crucifix, or we can see in the cover the crucifix or the cross here. So the crucifix represent the Catholic faith as it rises above the Inang Bayan, the Filipinos, or shows the dominance in the life of Dr. Rizal and in the novel itself. So the crucifix or the cross, it symbolize the suffering and death of the Filipinos, and the other aspects discussed in the novel. The pomelo all blossoms and laurel leaves. So laurel leaves represents the faith. Uh, Laurel leaves represent the faith, honor, and fidelity, which are values Rizal aspires to be embodied by Filipinos. So pomelos are used to scent their air, commonly during prayers and cleansing rituals. So laurel leaves are used as crowns during Greek Olympics for honoring the best. So mo crowns nila before during the Greek times ang kanang kuan laurel leaves. Again, the pomelo blossom and laurel leaves represent the faith, honor, and fidelity which the values of Rizal inspired to be embodied by the Filipinos. So, Dr. Rizal also used a burning torch in his novel. So, burning torch represent or refers to the Olympic torch. So, kanabang torch na makita sa during Sport Fest or intramurals. So, burning torch symbolized or it pertains to the awakening of Filipinos' consciousness. It also sheds light to the text of the manuscripts. So, awakening the Filipinos' consciousness. So that Dr. Rizal used burning torch. Burning torch also sheds the light to the text of the manuscripts itself, but not literally. So sunflower. So in the cover page or the cover of the novel, we can see the sunflower in which it symbolizes a new beginning because Dr. Salazar always seek for the independence or the kalayaan for the Filipinos or for the Inang Bayan. That is why he used sunflower as symbolism. So sunflower also it is compared to the happiness of which appears to be always bowing down. Now let's proceed to the um, lower triangle part of the novel. The lower triangle part of the novel. Here, para mas maklaro kaning sa ubos. ng nai-signature ni Dr. Jose Rizal. Okay. So, helmet of the Guardia Civil. So, in the lower part, or lower triangle part of the novel, or cover page of the novel, we can see the helmet of a Guardia Civil. Yes. So, helmet of a Guardia Civil represent the arrogance and authority, or the arrogance of the leaders in during Rizal's time. Then we can also see a whip. So it represents the abuses and cruelties done by the Spaniards and friars as depicted in the novel. So in the novel, um, makita ang tanan o kung sa nahitabo the cruelties, the good and the bad happening during the life of Rizal. And the cover page of the novel, we can say also that logs are disciplina. So it is used for self-flagellation. Just like the whip, the flags or disciplina, this also symbolize the cruelties of the Guardia Civil during Rizal's time. Okay. Um, we can also see the feet. So not the feet in the cover and the lower part of the cover of the novel. So feet symbolize the power of the priors. So during the during the time of Rizal, so the priors are more powerful in that time. So kung makita nato sa novel, ang feet feet nahimo si Jang nahimo si Jang foundation kibali sa cover na ang foundation sa cover. So the faith represents the power or the dominance power of the priors. And we can also see the shoes. So shoes, it represents the wealth. It is also the footprints left by priors in teaching Catholicism. So though they are the leaders, considered as the leader or powerful in the time of Rizal, the priors, they also teaching Catholicism, but it will not become good because priests or the friars used Catholicism in a dirty way. And next, we can see also the hairy legs. So hairy legs symbolize the legend of the wolf. So as we can see the wolf na 'di ba, they have more force, baliboon 'di ba sila. So the wolf shapes just like how priors hide their true nature and character. So in the real setting of the novel, the priors, we can see um in the real setting of the novels, um we can see or we may know the real characteristic, real nature or the qualities did by the friars. Behind that, we can uh, we we may know them basically as friars or friars as kind teaching Catholicism, teaching good morals. But during the time Rizal, friars or the priests are the one who did some cruelties and abuses. Next, um, we can also see chain. So chain it symbolizes slavery and imprisonment of the Filipinos because Filipinos imprisoned and enslaved more by the friars also and the Spaniards. And we can also see a bamboo stalks. So bamboo stalks, it represents Filipino resilience. Despite the sufferings Filipino can still, despite the Filipinos, experience suffering, these still stand tall and firm just like the bamboo. No, nabisag kapila kanang kon ko anon og hangin, agi-ag hangin, they can stand tall and firm. So, bamboo used as symbolized for Filipino resilience. And um, we can also see the Rizal signature in the cover of his novel here. You can show the big G Rizal signature, which means um, the Rizal signature symbolize or it shows that Rizal experienced and witnessed the ills, abuses, and cruelty that happened during his time. So diha di ay sa novel ijang gipang ang sa gipad ijang gipang sulti or ijang gipang vulgar tanan the cruelties, the abuses, and the discrimination happened during his time. Okay, now let's proceed to the theme of the novel Noli Me Tangere. So here is some themes na makita nato sa novel. So Noli Me Tangere or um, or in English, touch me not is a symbol of the need for distance the Filipinos from the Filipinos to the abusion, the cruelties, from the distance from the Filipinos to the friars and the Spaniards. Um, yeah, and also, Noli Me Tangere is um, is a or longing for and fulfillment. So, Noli Me Tangere um, stated also, Dr. Rizal stated also the longingness and unfulfillment of the Filipinos during his time, and it is stated in the novel. And in the novel, Dr. Rizal focuses on administration crawling with self-seeker out to make their fortune at the expense of Filipinos. So, in the novel, we can find out such cruelties happened from the administration for them to benefit for their own rather than to expense and to the Filipinos who are in need. So it is not new to us because it's still happening today that there are also these honesties of the official happened at the time of Rizal and it is stated in the novel. The government system or the working system is not that not that good and it will lead to frustration or in so it can ruin or it or in self-ruin because the administration or those who are in authority doing such cruelties abusion for their own good. So another term there is more tragic, yes, there are more tragic happen in the novel of and there are more tragic and of course no greater love than of two being unable to reach each other, since such a love internally remains unblemished. So, Dr. Rizal dearly love our inang bayan because naningkamot jud siya for the independence of the inang bayan or for the independence of our country or for the Filipinos also. So Rizal's book persistently unmasked contemporary Spaniards in the Philippines of every kind. So um, just what I said a while ago that the novel Noli Me Tangere um, um, it is unmasked contrary happens from contemporary happens of Spaniard in the Philippines during their colonization. And the novel itself, Noli Tangere, called as a book of social cancer because social cancer means the corruptions, the cruelty, the abusions happened in the society. Another theme, so we can find also the Filipinos teaching kanang Catholicism. So according to Rizal, instead of teaching Filipinos through Catholicism, they control the um, judge, by opposing all progress and persecuting members of the Estrados. And so, and instead of Jose Rizal expecting from the friars to to teach Filipinos through Catholicism and moral values, and but but unexpectedly the Jose Rizal um oppose Jose Rizal shall we say this and what's it, Catholic Dr. Rizal is not that his expectation doesn't meet during his time because he expect that friars we and even us we expect friars or priests teaching through Catholicism good moral values, but they are the one who will lead the persecution of the Filipinos itself, especially the three priests, um the three priests who are um in how who are punished through garrote. So there are also members of El Estrado at the time of Rizal that instead they want to know about pro Catholicism but from the priors, but they are in good condition. They are contradicting from each other because some priors are mostly of the priors at during time of Rizal use Catholicism and in a dirty ways. Another theme is the superstitious and hypocritical fanaticism of many who consider themselves religious people, but those religious people, especially the friars in the time of results, are considered as ignorance, corruptions, brutality and of the Filipino civil guards. So the passion of gambling unchecked by the thoughts of duty and responsibility is also happened in the novel. Now, so and then there are also gamblings of duty uncheck of duty and responsibility happened during the time of Rizal in his novel, and still we experience in the recent time. Next, the servility of the wealthy Filipino toward friars and government officials. So, yeah, as what I said, friars and other government officials are the one considered as ignorance, corruptions, and doing such abuses and cruelties during the time of the Cursor. So the ridiculous efforts of Filipinos to dissociate themselves from their fellow men or to lord it over them, all these are ridiculed and disclosed because um um the Filipinos expect them to have a good leader, but the leader they have is the one who will do the cruelties or do some abusion or the abuses their Filipinos, their fellow men, and so on and so forth. Next, Rizal nevertheless balanced the national portrait by highlighting the virtues and good qualities of his unspoiled countrymen in his novel. So there are also there we can find also the relationship between the parents to the children and the children to their parents, especially in the life of Rizal to his mother, and it is also written in that novel in his novel Noli. Um, the novel also it calls on Filipino to recover his self-confidence to appreciate his own worth, to return to heritage of his ancestors, and to assert himself as equal to the Spaniards. And lastly, it insists in the need of education, of dedication of to the country, and of absorbing aspects of foreign cultures that would enhance the native traditions. So that would be all about the theme of the novel. So that would be all. Thank you.
Now let's tackle the
So good day
characters of San
everyone,
Filibu's
and we are the
Turismo.
group 4 and
These
we
are
will
the main
tackle about
characters
the
of the
novel Noli
novel.
Me Tangere and
First,
Life of
Juan Crisostomo
Dr.
Ibarra
Rizal.
y Magsalen, or commonly
So I
known
am
as
Arlene Razo and I
Crisostomo
will
Ibarra.
discuss about the
Crisostomo
introduction of
Ibarra
the
is
novel, the
depicted
title
as
of the
one of
novel,
the
the cover and
Filipinos who
of the
managed to
novel, and the
finish their
theme
studies
of the
abroad.
novel.
He had been living abroad for 7 years. Unlike
So
his
Noli Me
countrymen,
Tangere
he
is
has
a
a
novel
liberal
written
mind,
by Dr. Jose
outspoken,
Rizal.
and idealistic.
It served as the
Crisostomo
eye-opener
Ibarra
and
was the
wake-up
son
call to
of
the
Don
Filipinos
Rafael,
during his
one
time.
of the
So
wealthiest
this novel
businessmen
is
in San
published in the
Diego.
year
As such,
1887.
he was also a childhood friend of
So it
Maria
served as
Clara. He,
eye-opener and wake-up call because of
he
the
is a very
abusion
patient and
discrimination
serious man,
happens
but
to
when he
the
provoked,
Filipinos
he becomes very
from
violent and
the
impulsive.
um,
Crisostomo
from the
Ibarra
friars and the
exemplified
Spaniards.
the vision that Jose
Now let's
Rizal had
proceed to the
aimed for the
title
youth
of the
of the
novel.
Philippines
So the title
during
of the
his
novel,
time.
Noli Me Tangere,
Others
is came from
attribute
the Latin
Ibarra as
word,
Rizal's
means in
reflection of
English, touch me not.
himself.
So the title Noli
Now
Me
let's proceed
Tangere,
to the
taken
second
from
main
the
character
scripture
of the
or the
story,
Bible verses from the
Maria
letter of
Clara
Saint
de los
John.
Santos, or commonly known
It
as
is when
Maria
Mary
Clara.
Magdalena seek
Maria
for Jesus
Clara's
in the
character
garden
is
after the
related to
resurrection.
Rizal's childhood
When
sweetheart,
um,
Leonor Rivera.
when Mary
Like the
Magdalena
real
holds
Leonor, she plays the
onto
piano
Jesus
and the
and
harp and has a sweet
he
voice.
tells her not
She
to
was
touch him.
portrayed as a
So
faithful
Jesus,
sweetheart,
from
a
the
good friend, and
letter
an
of Saint
obedient
John,
daughter. She portrayed as the ideal woman during her time. She does not
so Jesus
impose her will
said to her,
except when she
Stop
refused
clinging to me,
being married
for I have
off to
not yet
Linares.
ascended to my Father.
Maria
But be
Clara
on
had
your way to
childish
my brothers
simplicity
and say to them,
despite
I am
being showered
ascended to
with
my
love
Father and
and
to
attention by
your
everyone.
Father, and
She
my
gets
God and
easily
your God.
nervous, especially when her loved ones
So
are
in
in
this
trouble.
verse, Jesus
She had shown her
tells
love
to
to
Mary Magdalene
Ibarra with
that,
such modesty that remained
she's
unsullied
not
love and
allowed to
pure
touch
ideas.
to him or to Jesus because
Maria
he is not
Clara
yet
symbolizes the purity
ascended to
and
the Father.
innocence of a sheltered native woman during the time of Spanish occupation. She
Now
does
let's
not
proceed to
value
the
material
cover
things that
of the
were
novel,
abundantly
the
bestowed
Noli Me
upon her
Tangere
by
cover.
admirers
So this is
and
the
family
cover of,
alike, but
I
holds
mean,
in a
this is
high
the
esteem
original
her
cover of
parents'
the
honor
novel
and the
of
promise she
Dr.
had
Serson Noli Me
given to her
Tangere. As you can
sweetheart.
see in the cover, there are symbols
Next is Padre
printed,
Damaso
or there are
Verdolagas, or
drawings
commonly known as
here in the
Padre
cover, and
Damaso.
there
Damaso
and
Verdolagas
it
is a
has a
Franciscan friar
it has a
and the former
symbolism or
parish curate of San
symbolizations or
Diego.
meaning
He
behind
is
that
best known as a
cover.
notorious character who
Now,
speaks with harsh words
to
and
know
has been a
more deep about the
cruel
cover,
priest during
let's
his stay
tackle
in the town.
or
He
discuss
is the
it.
real father of
So the
Maria
number is
Clara and
divided
an
into
enemy
the
of Crisostomo Ibarra's
triangle
father,
of
Rafael Ibarra.
upper triangle part
Later,
and the
he and
lower
Maria Clara
triangle
had a
part. So
bitter
the upper
argument
triangle
whether
part of the
she would
novel
marry
represents
Alfonso
the past
Linares or go to
life
convent.
Jose Rizal, and the
He
lower part or
symbolizes the
the
Spanish
lower
flyers of
triangle of
Rizal's time and
the
is a
Noli
comment on
Manahari
Spanish
cover
control of
is
the Philippines.
represents the
Next in line
present
is Elias.
life of
Ilyas
Jose
is a
Rizal.
former boatman who became
Now
one
to
of the
look
most wanted
in
criminals
deep
of
the
San Diego.
upper
He
triangle part of the
distrusts
novel,
human
here is the
judgment and
picture.
prefers
So in the picture we
God's
can see the
justice
silhouette of
instead.
a Filipina,
He is
the cross
acquainted
and
with
the
the
crucifix,
Torrisanis and the other crooks, which he
pomelo
uses to his
blossoms and
advantage
laurel
in discerning the troubles of
leaves,
the town.
burning torch and sunflower.
Ilyas used to have an affluent
And
life with his
in the
twin
lower
sister.
triangle
He
part
was
of the novel,
educated in a
you can see the
Jesuit
feet,
college with
the shoes,
servants
the
waiting upon
hairy
him.
legs,
He
helmet
prefers a
of the Guardia
revolution over the
Civil,
reforms that
the whip,
Ibarra has been
flags,
inclined to believe in.
chain, and Rizal
Ilyas represents
signature
the common
and bamboo
Filipino who is not
stalks.
only aware of
So
injustice
now
done to
let's
their countrymen, but would
tackle
also like
it
to deliver
one by
them from
one
their
kung unsa mga
oppressors.
joy
He is
kanang
said to be
meaning
the
why Dr.
personification of
Sersal used
Andres
this
Bonifacio.
symbol as symbolism.
Next main
So
character of the
here
novel
is the
is
cover.
Philosopher
So we can
Tasio.
found in the
Philosopher
cover the cross,
Tasio,
or
known by
the
his
cross means the
Filipinized name
sufferings,
Philosopher
pomelo,
Tasio, is
blossom, and
another major character of the story.
laurel leaves.
Seeking for
It
reforms
means
from the
symbolize the
government,
honor and
he
fidelity,
expresses his
and the
ideas
silhouette
in
of a
paper
Filipina,
written
the Maria
in a
Clara or the Inang
cryptographic
Bayan,
alphabet
and then
similar
the
from
burning
hieroglyphs
torch.
and Coptic
So the
figures,
burning torch means
hoping
the
that
rage
the
and
future
passion.
generations
Then the
may be able to
sunflower
decipher it
means or
and
represents the
realize the abuse
enlightenment.
and
Then the bamboo
oppressions
strap
done by the
represents the
conquerors.
resilience.
His
Man
full
in
name
hairy
is
feet
only known
represent
as
priest
Don
using
Anastasio.
religion in a dirty
The
way.
educated
And
inhabitants of
chain
San Diego labeled him
represents
as
the
Filosofo
slavery,
Tasio or
and the
Tasio the
webs
Sage,
represent the
while others call
cruelties.
him as
And
Tasio
the
El Loco
helmet
or Tasio
of
the
the
Insane
Guardia
due
Civil,
to
it
his
represents
exceptional
the
talent of
authority.
reasoning.
Tasha comes from a rich family.
Now,
He is often
let's tackle
pessimist and
this
is
one by
untrusting to
one.
human
So,
tourism.
we will
He
go
also
on to the
does not
upper
believe
triangle
in
part of the
religious
cover of the
fanaticism
novel.
that was
So,
in
the
Bajud
silhouette.
during
So
his time.
we can see
Tasho is
the
one of the
silhouette of
characters in
a
the novel that
Filipina. So,
Rizal can
the
relate
silhouette of
to,
a
as the
Filipina
former
represent
is
or
patron
believed
of the
to be
latter's
Maria Clara or the
oldest
Inang
brother,
Bayan,
Pasiano
or
Rizal. Tasho
to
symbolizes
whom the novel
the
states.
learned Filipinos who
So
had once
cross or the
embraced the
crucifix.
culture
So we
of
can
Spanish
found
regime.
crucifix, or we can see
They
in the cover
eventually
the
became
crucifix or the cross
disenchanted
here.
when they returned to Philippines and observed the stark contrast their countrymen received from the
So the crucifix
colonizers.
represent the Catholic faith
The
as
more
it
they
rises
return to
above the
learning,
Inang
the more
Bayan, the
they become
Filipinos, or
eccentric
choose the
masses they
dominance
seek to enlighten. Next is Padre
in the
Salve.
life of
Padre
Dr.
Salve
Sersal
has
and
a
in the
secret
novel.
admiration to
So
Maria
the
Clara.
crucifix or the
On the
cross it
later part of the story,
symbolize
he
the
and Padre
suffering and death
Damaso
of the
devised a
Filipinos,
plan to break
and
Ibarra and
other
Maria Clara
aspects
apart. Padre
discussed in the novel.
Salve symbolizes the
The now
mischievous
the
friars of
pomelo
Rizal's
all
time.
blossoms and
Now let's proceed to the
laurel leaves.
characters that portray
So
the pervading
laurel
social
leaves
concerns in the
represents
novels of Jose
the
Rizal.
fate.
First in line is Don Santiago de los
Laurel leaves
Santos, or
represent the
commonly
faith,
known as
honor, and
Capitan Tiago.
fidelity, which are very
Now let's tackle the characters
which
of
are
El
values Rizal
Filibusterismo.
aspires
These are
to
the main
be
characters
embodied by
of the novel.
Filipinos.
First,
So
Juan
pomelos are used
Crisostomo
to scent
Ibarra y
their air
Magsalen,
commonly
or
during
commonly
prayers,
known as
influencing rituals.
Crisostomo
So
Ibarra.
laurel leaves are used
Crisostomo
as crowns
Ibarra is
during
depicted
Greek
as one of the Filipinos who
Olympics for
managed to
honoring the
finish their
best.
studies
So
abroad.
mo dinay
He
crowns
had been
nila
living
before during
abroad
the
for 7 years.
Greek times and
Unlike his
kanang
countrymen, he has
koan
a liberal
laurel
mind,
leaves.
outspoken, and idealistic.
Again, the pomelo blossom and
Crisostomo
laurel
Ibarra was the
leaves
son of
represent the
Don
faith,
Rafael,
honor, and
one of the
fidelity
wealthiest businessmen
which
in
the
San
values of
Diego.
Rizal inspired
As
to
such,
be
he was
embodied
also a
by the
childhood friend of
Filipinos.
Maria Clara.
So,
He is a very
Dr. Rizal
patient and
also
serious
used a
man,
burning
but when he
torch
provoked, he
in his
becomes very
novel.
violent
So,
and
burning
impulsive.
torch represent or refers to
Crisostomo
the Olympic
Ibarra
torch. So, kanabang
exemplified the
torch na
vision that
makita
Jose
sa
Rizal
during
had
Sport Fest
aimed
or
for the youth of the
intramurals.
Philippines. during
So
his time. Others
burning
attribute
torch
Ibarra as
symbolized
Rizal's reflection
or
of
it pertains
himself.
to the awakening of Filipinos'
Now let's proceed to
consciousness.
the
It
second
also
main
sheds light to
character
the
of the
text of
story,
the manuscripts.
Maria Clara de los
So,
Santos, or commonly known as
awakening the
Maria
Filipinos'
Clara.
consciousness. So
Maria
that
Clara's character is
Rizal, Dr.
related
Rizal
to
used burning
Rizal's
torch.
childhood sweetheart, Leonor Rivera.
Na,
Like
burning
the
torch
real
also sheds
Leonor,
the light to
she
the
plays the
text of
piano
the
and the harp
manuscripts
and has a
itself,
sweet
but
voice.
not literally.
She was portrayed as a
So
faithful
sunflower.
sweetheart,
So
a good friend,
in
and
the
an
in the
obedient
cover
daughter.
page or the
She
cover of the
portrayed as the
novel, we
ideal
can
woman during her time.
see the
She
sunflower
does
in
not
which
impose
it
her will,
symbolized a new
except
beginning
when she
because
refused
Dr.
being
Salazar
married
always
off
seek for
to
the
Linares.
independence or the kalayaan for the
Maria Clara
Filipinos
had
or for the
childish
inang bayan.
simplicity
That
despite
is
being
why
showered with love
he used
and
sunflower
attention by
as
everyone.
symbolism. So
She gets
sunflower
easily
also
nervous,
it is compared to
especially
the
when her
happiness
loved
of
ones are
which
in trouble.
appears to be
She
always
had shown her love to
bowing down.
Ibarra with such modesty that
Now
remained
let's proceed to the
unsullied
lower
of impure
triangle,
ideas.
um, lower triangle
Maria
part
Clara
of the novel.
symbolizes the purity and innocence of a sheltered
The
native
lower
woman
triangle
during the
part
time
of
of
the novel.
Spanish
Here,
occupation.
para mas
She does
maklaro
not
ka ning sa
value material
ubos
things that
ng
were
naisignature
abundantly
ni Dr.
bestowed
Jose
upon
Rizal.
her by admirers and family alike, but holds in
Okay,
high esteem
so
her parents' honor and the promise she had given to her sweetheart.
Helmet of the Guardia
Next is
Civil.
Padre
So, in the
Damaso
lower part,
Verdolagas,
or
or
lower
commonly
triangle part of
known
the
as
novel,
Padre
or cover
Damaso.
page of the novel, we
Damaso
can see the helmet
Verdolagas
of
is
a
a
Guardia Civil,
Franciscan
yes.
friar
So,
and the
helmet
former
of a
parish
Guardia
curate of San
Civil
Diego.
represent the
He is
arrogance
best
and
known as a
authority,
notorious character who
or the
speaks with
arrogance
harsh
of
words and has
the
been a
leaders in
cruel priest
during
during
Rizal's
his
time.
stay
Then
in
we
the
can
town.
also
He is
see a
the real
whip.
father of
So
Maria
it
Clara
represents the
and an
abuses
enemy of
and cruelties
Crisostomo
done by the
Ibarra's father,
Spaniards and friars
Rafael
as
Ibarra.
depicted in the novel. So in the
Later,
novel,
he and Maria Clara had
um,
a bitter
makita ang
argument
tanan o
whether
kung sabihin
she would
nahitabo the
marry Alfonso
cruelties, the good
Linares
and the
or
bad
go to
happening
convent.
during the life of Rizal.
He symbolizes the
And
Spanish friars of Rizal's time,
the
uneasy
cover page of the
comment of
novel, we can
Spanish
see
control of
also
the
that
Philippines.
logs or disciplina.
Next in
So
line
it
is
is used for
Ilyas. Ilyas is a former
self-flagellation.
boatman
Just
who
like the
became
whip,
one of the most wanted
the
criminals
flags
of
or
San Diego.
disciplina, this
He
also symbolize
distrusts
the
human judgment and
cruelties
prefers
of the Guardia
God's
Civil
justice
during
instead. He is
Rizal's
acquainted with the
time.
Talisanes and the other crooks,
Okay.
which he uses to
Um,
his advantage in discerning the troubles of the town.
we can also see the
Ilyas
feet.
used
So
to have an
not the feet
affluent life with his twin
in the
sister.
on the lower
He was
part of the
educated in
cover
a
of the
Jesuit
novel. So feet
college with
symbolize
servants
the
waiting
power of the
upon him.
priors.
He
So
prefers a revolution over the
during
reforms that Ibarra
during
has
the
been inclined
time
to
of
believe
Rizal,
in.
so the friars are more
Elias
powerful
represents the
in that
common
time.
Filipino who is
So
not
kung
only
makita
aware
nato
of
sa novel,
injustice done to their
ang
countrymen, but
feet
would also like to deliver them from
feet
their oppressors.
nahimo si Jang
He is said to be
nahimo
the
si Jang foundation na
personification of
foundation tibali
Andres Bonifacio.
sa cover na
Next
Nandiyan
main
condition sa
character of
cover.
the
So,
novel is
the faith
Filosofo Tasio.
represents
Filosofo
the
Tasio,
power
known by his
or
Filipinized name Filosofo
the
Tasio,
dominance
is
power
another major
of the
character of
friars.
the story.
And we can
Seeking for
also
reforms from the
see
government,
the
he
shoes.
expresses
So,
his
shoes, it
ideas in
represent the
paper
wealth. It
written
is
in
also
a
the footprints
cryptographic
left by friars in
alphabet
teaching
similar from
Catholicism. So,
hieroglyphs
though
and
they are the
coptic
leaders,
figures,
considered as the
hoping
leader
that
or
the future
powerful in
generations may be able
the
to
time of
decipher it
Rizal, the friars,
and realize the
they also
abuse and
teaching
oppressions done
Catholicism,
by the
but
conquerors. His full
it
name
will
is
not
only
become
known as
good
Don
because
Anastasio. The
priests or the
educated
friars
inhabitants of
use
San
Catholicism
Diego
in a
labeled
dirty
him
way.
as Filosofo Tasio or
And
Tasio the
next,
Sage, while
we can
others
see
call
also
him
the
as Tasio
hairy legs.
el
So hairy
Loco or
legs
Tasio
symbolize
the
the legend
Insane
of the
due
wolf.
to his
So as
exceptional
we can see the
talent
wolf
of
na 'di ba, they
Rizal.
have more
Tasha
force.
comes from a rich
Balhiboon, 'di
family.
ba sila?
He is
So the
often
wolf
pessimist
shapes
and is untrusting to
shapes
human
just like how
altruism.
priors hide
He
their
also
true
does not
nature
believe in
and character.
religious
So
fanaticism that
so
was
in the
encouraged
real
during his
setting
time.
of the
Tashu
novel,
is
the
one of the
priors
characters in the
we can
novel that
see
Rizal can
um
relate to,
um in
as
the
the
real
former
setting
is
of the
patron
novels
of the latter's
um we
oldest
can
brother,
see or we
Asiano
may know
Rizal.
the real
Tashu
characteristic,
symbolizes the
real nature
learned
or the
Filipinos who had
qualities
once embraced the
lead
culture
by
of
the
Spanish
friars behind
regime.
that we can
They eventually
we
became
may
disenchanted
know
when they
them
returned to
basically as
Philippines and
friars
observed
or friars
the
as
stark
kana
contrast their
teaching
countrymen received
Catholicism,
from the
teaching good
colonizers.
morals, but during the time
The
Rizal,
more they
um,
return to learning, the
friars
more
or the
they become
priests
eccentric to
um,
masses they seek
are the
to
one who
enlighten. Next
did
is
some
Padre
cruelties
Salve.
and
Padre
abuses.
Salve has a secret admiration to
Next,
Maria Clara. On the
um,
later part of the story,
we
he
can
and Padre
also see
Damaso
chain.
devised
So
a
chain
plan
it
to break
symbolized slavery and
Ibarra and Maria
imprisonment
Clara
of the
apart.
Filipinos
Padre, Sal- Padre Salve
because
symbolizes the
Filipinos
luxurious friars
imprisoned,
of Rizal's
enslaved
time.
more
And
by
now let's
the
proceed to the
friars
characters that
also and the
portray the prevailing
Spaniards.
social concerns
And
in the
we can
novels of
also
Jose
see a
Rizal.
bamboo stalks. So bamboo
First in
stalks,
line
it
is
represents
Don
Filipino
Santiago de los
resilience.
Santos, or
Despite the
commonly
sufferings
known as
Filipino
Capitan
can
Tiago.
still, despite the
Now let's tackle the
Filipinos
characters of
experience
El
suffering, they
Filibusterismo.
still stand
These
tall
are the
and
main
firm, just like
characters
the
of the
bamboo.
novel.
No,
First,
nabisag
Juan
kapila
Crisostomo Ibarra
kanang
y
kuan og
Magsalin,
hangin,
or
agi ag
commonly
hangin,
known as
they can stand
Crisostomo
tall and
Ibarra.
firm.
Crisostomo
So,
Ibarra is
bamboo
depicted as one of
used
the
as
Filipinos
symbolized
who
for
managed to
Filipino
finish their studies
resilience.
abroad.
And
He had been living abroad
um,
for 7
we
years.
can also
Unlike his countrymen,
see
he
the
has a
result
liberal mind,
signature in the
outspoken, and
cover
idealistic.
of
Crisostomo
his
Ibarra
novel
was the son of Don Rafael, one of the
here.
wealthiest
And
businessmen in
so
San
the
Diego.
big
As such, he was
G
also a
Rizal
childhood friend of
signature,
Maria Clara.
which means um,
He is a very patient and serious man, but
the
when he
Rizal
provoked,
signature
he becomes
symbolize
very
or
violent
it
and
shows that
impulsive.
Rizal experienced
Crisostomo
and witnessed
Ibarra
the ills,
exemplified the
abuses, and
vision that
cruelty
Jose
that
Rizal
happened
had
during
aimed
his
for the youth
time.
of the
So,
Philippines during his
so
time.
diha di ay sa novel
Others attribute Ibarra as
kanang
Rizal's reflection
ijang
of
gipang sulti or
himself.
ijang gipang vulgar tanan the
Now
cruelties,
let's
the
proceed to the
abuses,
second
and the
main character of the
discrimination
story,
happened
Maria
during
Clara de los
his time.
Santos, or commonly known
Okay,
as Maria
now
Clara.
let's proceed to the
Maria Clara's
theme
character
of
is
the
related to
novel,
Rizal's
Noli
childhood
Me
sweetheart,
So
Leonor
here is
Rivera.
some themes
Like the
na
real
makita
Leonor,
nato sa
she plays
novel.
the piano and the
So,
harp
Noli
and
Me
has a sweet voice. She
or
was portrayed as a
or in
faithful
English,
sweetheart,
touch
a
me
good
not is
friend,
a
and an
symbol
obedient
of
daughter.
the need
She
for
portrayed as
distance
the
from
ideal
the
woman during her
Filipinos
time.
to the
She
from
does
the
not
Filipinos to
impose
the
her will
abusion, the
except when
cruelties
she
from
refused being
the
married
distance
off
from
to
the Filipinos to
Linares.
the friars and
Maria
the
Clara had childhood
Spaniards.
simplicity despite
Um,
being showered with
yeah,
love and
and
attention by
also
everyone.
Nolimitang
She
Harry
gets easily
is
nervous,
um,
especially when her loved ones are
is
in
a
trouble.
or
She had shown her love to
longing
Ibarra
for
with such
and
modesty
fulfillment.
that remained
So,
unsullied of impure
Nolimitang Harry
ideas.
um,
Maria Clara
stated
symbolizes
also,
the
Dr.
purity and
Rizal stated
innocence
also
of a sheltered native
the
woman during the
longingness and
time of Spanish
unfulfillment of the
occupation.
Filipinos
She
during
does
his
not
time,
value
and
material
it is
things
stated in
that
the
were
novel.
abundantly bestowed upon her
And in
by
the novel,
inviters and
Dr.
family
Rizal focuses on
alike, but holds in a high esteem
administration
her
crawling with
parents' honor
self-seeker
and the
out to make
homage
their
she
fortune
had
at the
given to
expense
her
of Filipinos.
sweetheart.
So, in the novel, we
Next
can
is
find
Padre
out
Damaso
such
Verdolagas, or
cruelties
commonly known as
happened
Padre
from the
Damaso.
administration
Damaso
for
Verdolagas
them
is a
to
Franciscan friar and the
benefit for
former
their own
parish curate of San Diego. He
rather
is
than to
best known
expense
as a
and
notorious
to the
character who speaks
Filipinos
with
who are
harsh
in need.
words and has been a
So
cruel
it is
priest
not
during
new
his
to
stay in the
us
town.
because it's still
He
happening
is the
today
real
that
father of
there are
Maria
also these
Clara and an enemy
amnesties
of
of the
Crisostomo
official happened
Ibarra's
at the time
father,
of Rizal, and it is
Rafael
stated
Ibarra.
in the novel.
Later,
The
he and
government
Maria
system
Clara
or the
had a
working
bitter
system is
argument whether
not
she
that
would marry Alfonso
not that
Linares or
good,
go to
not that
convent.
good, and it will lead
He
to
symbolizes the
frustration,
Spanish
or
friars of Rizal's
it can
time and is
ruin,
a
or
comment on Spanish
it
control of
or
the
in
Philippines.
self ruin
Next
because
in line is
the
Ilyas.
administration
Ilyas
or
is a
those who
former
are in
boatman who
authority
became one
doing
of the
such
most wanted criminals of San
cruelties,
Diego.
abusion
He
for
distrusts
their own
human judgment
good.
and prefers
So
God's
another term,
justice
there
instead.
is
He
more
is
tragic.
acquainted with
Yes,
the
there are more
Talisanos
tragic
and the other
happened in the
groups,
novel.
which he uses to his advantage in
Of
discerning the troubles
and
of the town. Ilyas
there are
used
more
to have an
tragic, and
affluent
of
life with
course
his
no
twin
greater
sister.
love
He was
than of
educated
two
in a
being
Jesuit
unable to reach
college with
each
servants
other,
waiting
since
upon him.
such a love
He
internally
prefers a
remains
revolution
unblemished.
over the reforms that
So the
Ibarra
Court
has
Rizal
been
dearly
inclined to
love
believe in.
our Inang Bayan because um,
Ilyas
naningkamot
represents
jud
the
siya
common
for the
Filipino who is not
independence
only
of the
aware
Inang
of
Bayan, or
injustice
for
done
the
to their countrymen,
independence
but would
of
also
our
like to
country, or
deliver
for the
them from
Filipinos
their
also.
oppressors. He is
So
said to
Rizal's
be the
book
personification of
persistently
Andres
unmasked contemporary
Bonifacio.
Spaniards in the Philippines of every
The
kind.
next
So
main character of the
um,
novel
just
is
what I
Filosofo
said a while
Tasio.
ago, that the novel Noli
Filosofo
Me
Tasio,
Tangere,
known by his
um,
Philippinized name
um,
Filosofo Tasio,
it is
is another
unmasked
major character
contrary
of the story.
contemporary
Seeking for
happens
reforms from the government,
from
he expresses
contemporary
his
happens of
ideas in
Spaniard in the
paper
Philippines
written
during their
in a
colonization. And
cryptographic
the
alphabet
novel itself, Noli
similar
Me
from
Tangere, called
hieroglyphs
as kind
and
a book
Coptic
of
figures,
social
hoping
cancer
that the
because
future generations may
social
be
cancer
able to
means
decipher
the
it and
corruptions, the
realize
cruelty,
the
the
abuse
abusions
and
happened
oppressions
in the
done by the
society.
conquerors. His full name is only
Another
known as
theme,
Don Anastasio.
so
The educated
we can
inhabitants
find
of San
also
Diego
the
labeled him
Filipinos
as
teaching
Filosofo Tasio or Tasio the Sage, while
kanang
others call
Catholicism.
him as
So
Tasio
according to Rizal,
el
instead of
Loco
teaching
or Tasio
Filipinos
the
through
Insane
Catholicism, they
due to
control
his
the
exceptional
um,
talent of reasoning.
judge,
Tasha comes from a rich
by
family.
opposing
He
all
is a
progress and
pessimist
persecuting
and is
members of the
untrusting to human
Estrados.
altruism.
And
He also does
so,
not believe in
instead
religious
of
fanaticism that was
Jose Rizal
encouraged during
expecting
his time.
from the friars
Tasho is one of the characters in the
from the
novel that
friars to
Rizal can
teach
relate to,
Filipinos
as
through
the former is
Catholicism
patron
and
of the latter's
moral
oldest
values,
brother,
and
Pasiano Rizal.
but but
Tasho symbolizes the
unexpectedly the
learned
Jose Rizal
Filipinos who had once
um
embraced the culture of
oppose
Spanish
Jose
regime.
Rizal
They
um
eventually
shall we
became
say this
disenchanted when they returned to
and
Philippines and observed the stark
what's
contrast
the
their countrymen
Catholic
received from the colonizers.
Dr. Rizal is not
The
that
more they return to learning, the more
his
they become
expectation doesn't
eccentric
meet
to masses they
during
seek
his
to
time because
enlighten.
he expect that
Next is
friars
Padre
we
Salve.
and
Padre Salve
even
has a
us
secret
we expect
admiration to
friars
Maria
or
Clara.
priests
On the
teaching
later
through
part of the story,
Catholicism
he and Padre
good moral
Damaso
values, but
devised a
they are the
plan to
one
break
who will lead
Ibarra
the
and Maria
persecution
Clara
of
apart.
the Filipinos itself,
Padre
especially
Salve
the three
symbolizes
priests,
the luxurious friars of
um,
Rizal's time.
the three priests
Now let's proceed to the
in
characters that
how
portray the
who
pervading
are
social
punished
cancers
through
in the
garrote.
novels of Jose Rizal.
So
First in line is Don Santiago de los
there are
Santos, or
also
commonly
members
known
of
as
El Estrado at
Capitan
the time of
Tiago.
Rizal that instead
Now let's
they
tackle
want
the
to know
characters
about
of El
true
Filibusterismo.
Catholicism, but
These are the
from the
main
friars, but
characters of the novel.
they are
First, Juan
in good
Crisostomo
condition. They are
Ibarra y Magsalan,
contradicting from
or
each other
commonly known
because
as
some
Crisostomo
friars
Ibarra.
are mostly of the friars at
Crisostomo
during
Ibarra
time of
is
Rizal
depicted as one of the
use
Filipinos
Catholicism
who managed to finish their
in a
studies
dirty
abroad.
ways.
He had been
Another
living
theme
abroad
is
for
the
7 years.
superstitious and
Unlike his
hypocritical
countrymen, he has a liberal mind,
fanaticism
outspoken, and
of
idealistic.
many who consider
Crisostomo
themselves
Ibarra
religious
was the son
people,
of Don
but
Rafael,
those religious
one
people,
of the
especially the
wealthiest businessmen
friars
in San
under
Diego.
in the
As
time of
such,
Rizal
he
are
was also a
considered as
childhood friend of
ignorance,
Maria Clara.
corruptions,
He is a very patient and
brutality
serious
and
man, but when
of
he
the
provoked,
Filipino
he
civil
becomes very
guards.
violent and
So the
impulsive.
passion of gambling,
Crisostomo
unchecked by the
Ibarra
thought of duty
exemplified
and
the vision
responsibility,
that
is
Jose
also
Rizal
happened
had aimed for the
in
youth
the
of the
novel.
Philippines during
No,
his time.
so
Others attribute
and
Ibarra
then
as
there are
Rizal's
also
reflection
gamblings
of himself.
of duty unchecked of duty
Now
and
let's proceed to
responsibility
the
happened
second main character
during
of
the
the
time of
story,
Rizal in his
Maria
novel,
Clara de los Santos, or commonly known
and
as Maria
still we
Clara.
experience
Maria
in
Clara's
the recent
character
time.
is related
Next,
to
the
Rizal's childhood sweetheart,
servility of the
Leonor
wealthy
Rivera.
Filipino toward
Like
friars
the
and
real
government
Leonor,
officials.
she
So,
plays the piano and
yeah,
the
as what
harp
I said,
and has a sweet
friars
voice.
and other government
She was
officials are the
portrayed as a
one
faithful
considered
sweetheart,
as
a good
ignorance,
friend,
corruptions,
and an
and doing
obedient
such
daughter.
abuses
She
and
portrayed as
cruelties
the ideal
during
woman during
the
her
time
time.
of the
She
Cursor.
does not impose her will,
So
except
the
when she
ridiculous efforts
refused
of
to be
Filipinos to
married off to
dissociate
Linares.
themselves from their fellow men
Maria Clara
or
had
to
childish
lord it
simplicity
over them, all
despite
these are
being showered
ridiculed
with
and
love
disclosed
and
because
attention by everyone.
um
She gets
um
easily
the
nervous,
Filipinos expect
especially
them
when
to
her
have a
loved
good
ones
leader,
are
but
in trouble.
the
She had shown her love to
the leader they have
Ibarra with such
is the one
modesty
who will
that
do the
remained
cruelties
unsullied
or
of impure
do
ideas.
some abusion or the
Maria
abuses their
Clara symbolizes the
Filipinos,
purity and innocence of a
their
sheltered
fellow
native
men,
woman
and
during the
so on and so
time of
forth.
Spanish occupation.
Next,
She does not value material
Rizal
things
nevertheless
that were
balanced
abundantly
the
bestowed
national
upon her
portrait
by
by highlighting the
admirers
virtues and
and
good
family
qualities of his
alike,
unspoiled
but holds in
countrymen
high esteem
in
her
his
parents' honor and the
novel.
promise she had given to her sweetheart.
So there are also
Next
we can
is
find
Padre
also
Damaso
the
Verdolagas, or commonly known
relationship
as
between the
Padre
parents to the
Damaso.
children and the children to
Damaso
their parents,
Verdolagas
especially
is a Franciscan
in the
friar
life of
and the
Rizal to
former
his
parish
mother.
curate of San Diego.
And
He
it
is
is
best known
also
as a
written
notorious character who speaks with
in his
harsh
novel
words
Noli
and
Tangere.
has been a cruel
Um,
priest during his stay
the
in
novel also
Rizal.
it calls on
He is the
Filipino to
real father of
recover
Maria
his
Clara and an
self-confidence to
enemy of Crisostomo Ibarra's
appreciate
father,
his own worth,
Rafael
to return to
Ibarra.
heritage of his ancestors,
Later, he
and
and
to
Maria
assert
Clara
himself
had a
as
bitter
equal to the
argument whether
Spaniards.
she would marry
And
Alfonso
lastly,
Linares or
it
go to
insists in the
convent.
need of education, of
He
dedication
symbolizes
of
the
to
Spanish
the country,
friars of
and
Rizal's
of
time and is a comment on
absorbing
Spanish
aspects of
control of
foreign
the Philippines.
cultures that would
Next
enhance the
in line
native
is Ilyas.
traditions.
Ilyas is a
So that
former
would be all
boatman who
about the
became one of
theme
the most wanted
of the
criminals of
novel.
San
So
Diego. He distrusts human judgment
that
and
would be all.
prefers
Thank you.
God's justice instead. He is a Padre, Padre Salve symbolizes the luxurious friars of Rizal's time. Now let's proceed to the characters that portray the pervading social concerns in the novels of Jose Rizal. First in line is Don Santiago de los Santos, or commonly known as Capitan Tiago. Known by his nickname Tiago and political title Capitan Tiago, is a Filipino businessman and the cabeza de barangay, or head of barangay, of the town of San Diego. He is also the known father of Maria Clara. In the novel, it is said that Capitan Tiago is the richest man in the region of Binondo, and he possesses real properties of Pampanga and Laguna de Bay. He is also said to be a good Catholic, friend of a Spanish government, and was considered as a Spanish by colonialists. Capitan Tiago never attended school, so he became a domestic helper of a Dominican friar who taught him informal education. Capitan Tiago was a typical character during the time of Jose Rizal. He is a rich native-born Filipino who rubbed elbows with powers during the time. He symbolizes the rich Filipinos who oppress
the fellow countrymen in exchanging for influence and the riches that they might gain from their powerful associations. Next is Doña Consolacion. Her adulation of the Spaniards leads her to imitate the very actions and attitudes of a Spanish woman. She symbolizes the Filipinos in society who are ashamed of their race and nationality.
Next characters are the Espadañas. Doña Victorina de los Reyes de Espadaña, or commonly known as Doña Victorina. She is an ambitious woman who classifies herself as a Spanish and mimics Spanish ladies by putting on heavy makeup. The novel narrates Doña Victorina's younger days. She had lots of admirers, but she didn't choose any of them because nobody was a Spaniard. Later on, she met and married Don Tiburcio de Espadaña, an official of the Customs Bureau who is about 10 years her junior. However, their marriage is childless. As one of the lesser evils in the novel, Doña Victorina symbolizes those who have a distorted view of their identity. Everything that is indigenous is inferior, and everything foreign as superior.
It is the comedic form of colonial mentality.
Next is Don Tiburcio de Espadaña, the husband of Doña Victorina. He was introduced as one of the invited guests of Capitan Tiago in the latter's welcome party for Juan Crisostomo Ibarra. He was known for charging exorbitant fees for his medical treatment. Don Tiburcio was initially a low-rank official in the customs. Don Tiburcio is a caricature of ignorant Spaniards who wreak havoc in the province during the colonial era. His countrymen condone his actions, for they do not want him to become a burden to them. For the last characters, these are the supporting characters who are the victims of poverty and ignorance. First is Narcissa or Sisa. She is the type of native wife. She also endures her husband's beatings and irresponsibility. She had been stripped of her few jewels by her husband Pedro, an inveterate gambler. Despite the abuse, she considers him as her god. Sisa is described as a mother who considers her son her only treasures. She would often anticipate when they return home as she would prepare their favorite dishes. She remembers each son's features and when alone, remember moments when her sons were with her. Sisa is thought to have represented the motherland who was suffering as her character. She suffered with the loss of her children. The tragic events that ruined her life represented the abuse that the motherland received from her colonizers. The next supporting character is Basilio, Sisa's 10-year-old son, an acolyte tasked to ring the church bells for the Angelus. He faced the dread of losing his younger brother and the descent of his mother into insanity. At the end of the novel, Elias wished Basilio to bury him by burning in exchange for a chest of gold located on his death ground. He will later play a major role in El Filibusterismo. The last character of the novel is Crispin. He is a sacristan who had been accused of stealing 2 gold pieces by the senior sacristan, although he had implored his older brother to pay for the said amount. The latter refuses as their mother would have nothing to eat. He had not been eating and he misses his mother for he had not gone home since the money disappeared. He was last seen being dragged away from his brother after pealing the bells. When his mother visited him, he is said to have run away. Crispin represents the innocents who have been wrongly accused of the crime they did not commit. The injustice they suffered under the hands of the authorities during their time were silenced by their deaths and the cover-ups that follow it. Sisa, Crispin, and Basilio represent a Filipino family persecuted by the Spanish authorities. Due to their tragic but enduring story, these characters are often parodied in modern Filipino popular culture.
Noli Tangere. The first half of Noli Tangere was written in Madrid, Spain, from 1884 to 1885, while Dr. Jose P. Rizal was studying for medicine. After he read the novel Uncle Tom's Cabin by Harriet Beecher Stowe, he had the inspiration to write his own novel with the same topic to expose Spanish colonial abuse in print. Beecher Stowe's novel describes black slavery abuse done by white men. Objectives: in another letter to Ferdinand Blumentritt, in Rizal described what he expects when the novel will be in circulation. Finally, he pointed out his primary objective: to defend Filipinos from foreign accusations of foolishness and lack of knowledge, to show how the Filipino people lived during Spanish colonial period and the cries and hope of these countrymen against abusive officials. To his discuss what religion and belief can really do to everyday lives, to expose the cruelties, graft, and corruption of the false government and honestly show the wrongdoings of Filipinos that lead to future further failure.
Jose Rizal's Noli was all about the description of the Spanish colonization here in the Philippines and how the Spanish treated Filipinos badly. This novel has a lot of symbolism and real-life events that opened the eyes of the Filipinos during the Spanish colonization to start the revolution, the 1896 Philippine Revolution, to overthrow the Spanish colonizers. Every character in Noli has a role to depict different roles in the Philippine society to fight for the freedom of the country. The novel depicted real-life events during the Spanish colonization in the Philippines, like the Friars' Command's decisions were more powerful than the Governor General's decisions. The conflicts in this novel existed until today's generation that affects our society and the country that needs to learn and read Noli Me Tangere. The conflicts that were dominant in the novel, like corruption, injustice, poverty, and abuse, remain the same problem until this day. Jose Rizal's Noli Me Tangere tells us that we should reflect on our own actions and beliefs for our country. The theme of the novel is to promote nationalism and to accept change in ourselves. It still applies to us today. We must patronize our country by respecting the law, promoting Philippine culture, and realizing the true goal of our country by helping each other towards the improvement of the country. It teaches us the values of wisdom, fighting what is right, and loving our country. This novel is being taught in school in order to not repeat this history itself, by learning how to love our country and to empower the youth as the catalyst of the change for our country. Being a true Filipino is what Jose Rizal wants us to be, to know who we are and what is our goal, what is our true goals will make the country flourish.
maikling kabuuan ng Noli me Tangere. Naging usap-usapan sa Maynila ang magaganap na pagtitipon sa tahanan ni Don Santiago de los Santos, kilala sa tawag na Kapitan Tiago, noong mga huling araw ng Oktubre. Ito ay isang hapunan na dadaluhan ng mga kilalang tao. Makikita ang kanyang tahanan sa daang Arlige, nakaratig ng Ilog Pasig. Dinaluhan ito ng isang binatang nag-aral sa Europa ng 7 taon. Siya si Crisostomo Ibarra, ang anak ni Don Rafael Ibarra. Kabilang sa mga dumalo ay sina Teniente Ibarra, Doña Victorina, Padre Damaso, Padre Sibila, at iba pang mga kilalang tao. Sa hapunang iyon ay masasakit na salita laban sa ama ni Crisostomo ang kanyang narinig. Umalis na lamang siya sa pagtitipong iyon. Sa liwasan ng binundok, naabutan ni Teniente Guevara si Crisostomo. Dito ay inilihad ng Teniente ang sinapit ng ama ni Crisostomo na pinaratangang pilibustero at erehe. Dumalaw ang binatang si Crisostomo Ibarra kay Maria Clara, isang napakagandang dalaga na anak sa turing ni Kapitan Tiago. Sa azotea ay sinariwa ng dalawa ang mga alaala ng kanilang kamusmusan. Ipinakita ni Crisostomo Ibarra ang dahon ng sambong na alaala niya kay Maria Clara. At inilabas naman ni Maria Clara ang sulat ng binata bago ito umalis. Araw ng mga patay, hinanap ni Crisostomo Ibarra ang libingan ng kanyang ama, ngunit nalaman nito na ipinahukay ni Padre Damaso ang bangkay at inilipat sa libingan ng mga inchik. Ngunit ang ginawa ng supulterero ay itinapon na lamang ito sa lawa dahil sa bigat at napakalakas ng ulan noong gabing iyon. Nagalit si Crisostomo na halos panggigilan niya ang supultorero. Ipinagdamdam ng labis ni Crisostomo Ibarra ang sinapit ng kanyang ama. Sa halip na maghiganti ay ipinagpatuloy na lamang niya ang pagpapatayo ng paaralang pampubliko na proyekto ng kanyang ama. Sa araw ng paglalagay ng unang batong takaran ng ginagawang paaralan, ay may nagtangkang pumatay kay Crisostomo Ibarra. Mabuti na lamang at siya ay nailigtas ni Elias. Si Maria Clara ay nagkasakit dahil sa sindak sa gumuhong bato noong araw ng pagdiriwang. Mabuti na lamang at nagpadala ng gamot si Ibarra at ito ay gumaling. Isang salo-salo ang inihandog ni Crisostomo Ibarra matapos ang pagbabasbas. Ngunit sa halip na ipagpasalamat ni Padre Damaso ay kinutya-kutya at hinamak pa nito ang alaala ng ama ng binata. Sa pagkakataong iyon ay hindi na nakapagpigil si Crisostomo Ibarra. Muntik na niyang masaksak si Padre Damaso kung hindi lamang naawat ng dalagang si Maria Clara. Dahil sa mga pangyayari ngayon ay itiniwalag si Crisostomo Ibarra sa simbahang Katoliko Romano. At dahil dito ay ipinag-utos ni Padre Damaso kay Kapitan Tiago na putulin ang kasunduang ipakasal si Maria Clara kay Crisostomo Ibarra. Si Alfonso Linares, isang binatang Kastila ang napili ni Padre Damaso upang makaisang dibdib ni Maria Clara. Sa kabutihang palad ay tinulungan ng Kapitan General si Crisostomo upang mapawalang bisa ang pagka-eskomulgado nito. Nagkaroon ng masamang pangyayari kung saan sinalakay ng mga manghihimagsik ang kwartel ng mga Gwardiya Sibil at ang itinuturong utak ng paghihimagsik ay si Crisostomo Ibarra. Bunga nito ay ipinadakip si Crisostomo at ibinilanggo. Dinalaw ni Elias si Crisostomo sa bilangguan at hinimok nito na tunay na mamuno sa kanilang gagawing pag-aalsa, ngunit hindi ito pumayag. Ginamit ang sulat ni Crisostomo Ibarra kay Maria Clara bilang matibay na ebidensya upang madiin ito sa kasalanang hindi ginawa. Itinakas ni Elias si Crisostomo sa pagkakabilanggo, ngunit bago sila lumayo ay kinausap muna niya si Maria Clara. Sa kanilang pag-uusap ay inamin ni Maria Clara na ipinagpalit niya ang sulat ni Ibarra sa dalawang liham ng inang si Doña Pia Alba. Sa liham na ito ay nalaman ni Maria Clara ang kanyang tunay na ama ay si Padre Damaso. Sinabi ng dalaga na pakakasal siya kay Linares upang maitago ang lihim ng ina, ngunit si Crisostomo ang kanyang tanging mamahalin. Pagkatapos makapag-usap ang magkasintahan ay tumakas sina Crisostomo at Elias sa mga tumutugis na Gwardiya Sibil. Iniutos ni Elias kay Crisostomo na dumapa sa bangka upang matabunan niya ito ng mga dayami at saka siya lulundag at magpapahabol sa mga tumutugis sa kanila. Pinaulanan agad ng punlo si Elias ng mga Gwardiya Sibil hanggang sa pumula ang tubig. Nang nabalitaan ni Maria Clara na namatay ang kasintahan, siya ay nawala na ng pag-asa. Hiniling niya kay Padre Damaso na magmongha na lamang siya at kung hindi papayagan ay magpapatiwakal ito. Sa pagtakas ni Elias sa mga humahabol na Gwardiya Sibil ay narating niya ang libingan ng mga Ibarra. Siya ay naghihingalo at sugatan dahil sa mga punlong tumama sa kanya. Sa libingang iyon ay nakita niya si Basilio na iniiyakan ng kamamatay na inang si Sisa. Tinawag ni Elias si Basilio. Sinabi ni Elias sa bata na sunugin ang kanyang bangkay kasama ang bangkay ng kanyang ina. Sinabi rin ni Elias na humukay sa gabi roon at may makikita siyang kayamanan. Gamitin niya ito at mag-aral. Bago malagutan ng hininga si Elias ay tumanaw ito sa silangan at nagwika, "Mamamatay akong hindi man lamang namasdan ng maningning na bukang liwayway sa aking inang bayan. Kayong makakikita, batiin ninyo siya at huwag kaliligtaan ang mga nalugmok sa dilim ng gabi." Paalam! Hanggang sa muli! Oops! Huwag kalimutang mag-subscribe! Salamat!